guys, it's another Monday, and that means it's time for another Sims Sparked video. I'll be doing another Sims Sparked video every Monday while these are coming out, so if you want to make sure you see my next video, you can subscribe. There are a lot of growing pains in the Sims Spark that we talked about last week, but I think they got over most of them in this episode, especially regarding pacing. I feel like a lot of people had the reaction, including myself, that it was paced a little bit quickly. And I agree with that. I think a lot of first episodes of reality shows do that, but given that this is only a 4-episode span, it makes sense why we would feel like a whole fourth of the competition is feeling rushed. And I also think part of that is the fact that this is one of those reality shows that has the 2 challenges per episode instead of just one larger challenge. And I think a lot of shows like that do suffer from some pacing issues and feel a little bit fast. But I think overall, this episode felt paced correctly, felt like we really got a chance to go along with the contestants through the challenge and really understand a little bit more about who each person is, what each team's goal was. Really feel like we're going along with that journey instead of just watching it. The first skills challenge I thought was fantastic. The challenge was to have one sim in 3 different life states and then 3 different environments or rooms to be in that describes where they are in life and create a little story arc along their lifetime. I thought that was fantastic. My background is actually, I went to school for film, and I'm actually a production designer for film and television. And basically what a production designer is kind of what a builder is in The Sims Sparked, where you make environments for film, television, whatever needs it, to help tell the story, which is exactly what the builders do in this. And I think this was just the perfect challenge for that. It really made me happy to see all of the spaces telling such a good story, and I really like to see it. I just thought it was a really great challenge. I also think all of the teams had fantastic ideas for this challenge. I really thought all of them had great ideas and also executed them really well. I think a lot of those growing pains weren't just about the show figuring out its own pacing, but were also about the contestants getting a little more comfortable with each other, with the challenges, with the whole environment, and I think people become more creative and do better once they're a little more in a comfortable space, and you can tell that these contestants are more comfortable. They're a little more in their element, and I think it really shows in the work. Mira said something really interesting in this episode when she was talking to Dr. Gluon, that she thinks these challenges are geared a lot more towards YouTubers instead of streamers, and I completely agree. I do think these are all geared very much towards YouTubers. That is, of course, the majority of the contestants, but a lot of these contestants do either mainly stream or also stream. So I think that was a very interesting observation on her part, and I think points out a lot of the reason why some may have struggled in that presentation stage in the last episode. And I think knowing that it's about being a little more snappy, you don't have all the time in the world, I think getting into that mindset really helped that team in particular, and other teams, honestly, to understand more of how their pitches and their presentations to the judges should be structured. I also just want to say about that Team Llama, I was first of all very glad to see them working better together. I feel like a lot of the strife was a little bit more manufactured in editing last week. It probably was not that extreme in person. But I just want to say it's normal for people working creatively together, especially when they don't know each other, to have some bumps along the road and not always be seeing eye to eye. You can't read each other's mind. And I think we see that continue in this episode. Obviously, if you haven't seen the episode, Team Llama does, quote-unquote, pull it together a little, but they really seem to mesh a lot better, get each other start communicating better by the end of this episode, and it really shows in their work. But I do want to say, for anyone watching, just me with my own background, I know that even if you're working fine with each other, you're still going to have some disagreements. You're not going to see eye to eye all the time. Again, no one's a mind reader. And I don't want anybody to think that just because there was some tense music and 2 people were like, oh, I think this, but I think this. Those are not personal issues between people. That's just 2 people discussing their project. And that's how really good ideas come out, is the collaboration and each person bringing something else to the table. And this team really started to use that to their advantage in a really great way. So I just want for anyone watching who maybe doesn't have experience doing that or only has negative experiences in those kind of situations to know that, like, just because two people disagree creatively with each other doesn't mean that there's some kind of drama underpinning all of it. And the second challenge with the packs, I thought was a really great premise for a challenge. I think the creators of the show probably thought that each team would fight over like vampires and Realm of Magic first, instead of like run towards these kind of like basic necessities packs, like get to work. And it was kind of funny seeing what I think was probably like that backfiring a little bit. I mean, we did get some drama in quotes. We did get that moment when two teams wanted Dine Out, which I think might be the only time people have fought over like wanting Dine Out possibly ever. But it really shows maybe how that challenge, the expectation of it, while I like the idea of packs being incorporated specifically into the challenge instead of just using all the packs kind of indiscriminately, it does show how maybe the expectations of how these creators use packs are different than the reality. The twist in the challenge this week, I do not think was good. Now, I liked the twist last week because it added challenge, but it ultimately forced the creators to be a little bit more creative and adapt their concepts. And this is how twists should be. They should ultimately challenge the creators to make a better end product. But I don't think this twist of having to incorporate the previous sim did that. I think it solely added difficulty, but not positive creative challenge. Team Llama did use this well, but I think they just happened to have two stories that kind of worked with each other. And I don't say that to undercut their accomplishments at all, because I think they did a really good job with it. But that being said, I do think some of that is up to luck, up to what you did in your last challenge. But I think it actually stifled creativity instead of challenging it overall for most of the simmers. Now, if you watch my last video, you know that I did not like the voiceover concept. I still don't, although they did get a lot better at doing the voiceover in this one, and I think that was evident. I still don't think it's a very important part of this challenge, and I've got to say Simprove's voice effects, absolutely hilarious. I did enjoy that moment. Maybe I'm glad for the voiceover just for that little moment of hilarity. But in the end, spoiler alert if you have not seen it, Team Gnome that had won, I think a lot of the challenges had really been on top, was sent home. And that team has Plumbella, Simproved, and the English Simmer. I'll be honest, I was a bit shocked that this was the team that went home. And I don't say that to be like, I'm not here to be gossipy. I'm here because I like thinking critically about media and our engagement in media. So I don't say that to be like, oh, they made the wrong decision, it's rigged, blah, blah, blah. Because ultimately, whoever wins the competition is up to the judges. It is up to the judges, not us. And I think you can get a bit more calm as soon as you realize that that's just how it goes in reality shows. Nothing is objective, everything is subjective, and what the judges decide just is what it is. But here's the reason I was shocked, even after saying all that. Last week, the team that was sent home was the team that objectively did not complete all the requirements. And I did not think the same thing was true of this team. And I actually, unfortunately, because I like all these simmers, again, not here to gossip, I don't want to be doing that. But I do think Team Cowplant's final film made less sense. And I think that team, in my eyes, again, from what we saw, we don't see everything because it is edited, didn't fulfill the objective as much. Again, coming from my own filmmaking background, it does not matter how cinematic, as Kelsey said, how pretty something looks. Every shot, everything you're doing should be to serve the story. And I thought Team Gnome did more of that than Team Cowplant. Again, this is all from what we see through the edit of this show. So I want to just say with a big ol' asterisk here that I could be totally wrong, and we actually don't see the full completed pieces, so we can't really judge them that well. And I Just want to make that very clear that I think that. And, you know, the editors of the show might have put in less coherent sections of the mermaid machinima and more coherent sections of the alien one, just to change our expectations and make us feel more shocked when the final verdict was revealed. And there was the thing about using the packs, which I actually wish they had gone more into, because I think we would have more clarity why which team was chosen, and it could lie there. It could be in that part of the challenge that Team Gnome didn't do as well. Overall, I know a lot of people are shocked over that. I think I personally would have been sad. I said this last week, no matter the team that went home, because I do like all these creators. And I do think it's going to get harder as more go home, because we're seeing more of people who we care about, we like their content, we think they're good, go home, and that is sad. Anyway, that's what I thought about this week's episode. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. I have seen some really thoughtful commentary and critiques on the show in the comments of my videos, and I would love to keep that going. I love engaging with your comments. And remember, I will do this every week when this comes out. I might even do a wrap up after all the episodes are out to just sum all my thoughts up into one thing. But if you want to make sure you're seeing all of those videos, make sure you subscribe so you can see them right when they come out.